What's up you guys, I'm Dan, this is Frugal Not Cheap, and today I'm going to show you how I take care of my dress shoes. In general, I like to buy high quality items and keep them for a long time. This is kind of along the lines of the buy it for life type of deal. And when it comes to dress shoes, I did just that. So I've had these probably for about maybe 10 to 12 years or so. But I bought a pair of these McAllisters from Allen Edmonds. It's an American company out of Port Washington, Wisconsin. And so I got those at the time. They were selling for, I think, $375. Now, inflation, they're $450 a pair. I also got a pair of the Park Avenues in black. These are kind of your classic, shoes for all occasions. And those are, the most formal. They don't have any broguing. And those are now retailing for $425. Again, I paid less than that back then. And then also got a pair of Fifth Avenues, just to have some brown shoes that have a little bit of, a little bit of color on them. Another really popular one, model is called the Strand, typically in like a cognac or a lighter brown color. It's a very popular one as well. Anyway, the cool thing about these is that even though they are obviously expensive, they will, having a cork bed fit your feet well. You definitely want to pick the right last, of course, also. So they have different lasts. These are basically sort of foot shapes, and you want to figure out which one is good for your foot. But kind of the great thing about this company, though, and they've been around for a long time, is that you can get your shoes recrafted when they start to get worn a little bit. So you can send them in. It used to be, I think, $125. The cost hasn't gone up all that much for the recrafting. It's $150 for the standard package. So you send the shoes back up and they'll replace the soles and do a bunch of other stuff as well. Kind of make them look new again. But in the meantime, though, of course, there's a lot that you can do to keep your shoes looking new. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because I'm just going to touch these up. They don't really need a whole lot of work, but I'm going to touch them up because I'm flying to an event tomorrow, a company event. And of course, I want my shoes to look smart. So before we get started with the actual cleaning of the shoes and taking care of them, one thing I would suggest is definitely to get some of these cedar inserts for your shoes. These are the kind where they split in order to kind of fill up the toe area. You do have to be careful, of course, to make sure that you put them in the right side. So this is obviously a left one. Otherwise, you can cause some damage or shape them wrong. So that would be bad. But those definitely help keep your shoes fresh. Another tip is to rotate your shoes. So I wouldn't wear the same shoes, multiple days in a row. I would wear them, put in the shoe trees and let them rest that way, and then wear a different pair the next day and kind of, rotate that way. That'll keep your shoes fresh. Another big consideration is depending on the type of sole that you have. So of course, if you have the rubber type soles, those are going to be just fine in the wet. And, this heel would be fine in the wet as well. But this leather sole up here, this is the kind of thing that, shoe leather is very tough. That's why we have the phrase, "this stuff is shoe leather." However, if it gets wet, like soaked, and you're walking around on asphalt, that's really going to tear up the sole of your shoe. So that's not something that you want to do. In those situations, you'd want to put galoshes or whatever, those rubber shoe covers in order to keep your sole safe. But in the dry, totally fine. Again, shoe leather is very tough, and then a little bit of damp, not a big deal either. And if you're on grass, obviously not a problem at all. It's really just the wet and the asphalt, kind of a gritty surface, hard gritty surface like that, that's going to mess up your soles. So that's just a little bit of general shoe care, to keep the shoes in good shape in between, actually putting some work into them. And so what are the different tools that we've got here? Well, I've got a toothbrush. I've also got some heel and edge dressing. I have a shoe cream, and that is different from the Carnubu shoe polish. So I also do have this kind of wax shoe polish. And then I've got this, I think it's boar's hair. I don't remember exactly, but it's it's a natural hair bristle brush, and this really helps to provide a shine on it. And then of course also I need a little bit of I need a little cloth. So what I've done is I keep a different cloth for each different color. So I have one that's specifically for black, and then a cloth that's specifically for brown, and one for burgundy. So you can see that here. And this, reusing this cloth actually does sort of help to keep the patina going, and I don't know, make things make the shoes look good. So yeah, so those are all my little tools there. And the first thing that we would do, and I'm going to take the shoe trees out just so that the shoes are lighter. So the first thing to do is with a soft toothbrush is to kind of clean out this area here. That's what it's really good for. Is just make sure that we get any kind of dirt and stuff out of there. Again, these shoes are really not all that dirty or in bad shape, so it's not really a big deal, but good to do anyway. And also, I wouldn't ordinarily do this on the table, but this does make it a little bit easier for filming purposes. Okay, there's that. Now, the next thing to do is going to be to apply the shoe cream. So the idea here is the cream, of course, is actually going to seep into the leather a little bit and apply some color and also conditioning. And this is very different from the shoe polish, which is going to be a wax that's going to sit on top and provide a protective layer, and also be the layer that provides all of that shine. So of course there's still some wax on the shoe from before. So that means that this cream isn't necessarily going to seep in all that well everywhere, but generally it's still going to work. So I'm just going to apply a small amount and kind of rub that in around different areas of the shoe, and then let that dry before we apply the shoe polish. So I'll get a little bit here, and especially I'm going to look for areas where the color seems to have faded a little bit or what have you. One thing is that the broguing can make this a little bit difficult to do, because yeah, you can't really get inside of those little holes where the broguing's happening. Oh yeah, there was a scuff over there, so definitely glad we're going over that area. I'm just kind of doing some sort of circular-ish movements like that. And again, yeah, trying to find spots where it looks like there's been kind of a loss of color. Or areas that look dry as well. Because again, this is providing some conditioning type of benefit too, and not just the color. I do think they are quite pretty shoes though. The toes are probably a little bit more rounded than some others. It's a sort of more American type of thing than European, but still very nice shoes. Speaking of which, I probably do want to add a little more color on the toe here, even though it's kind of tricky with the broguing. The broguing, by the way, are all those little holes that are made there that are decorative, and you can have a nice pattern out of them. Okay, so that's one. I'm going to do the other one off camera, and then we're just going to, while I'm working on that one, then that one's going to dry, and then I'll be able to get back to it and start working on the wax. Okay, so I applied the shoe cream, and so now we're just going to buff the shoes a little bit before we apply the shoe wax, or the shoe polish itself. So it's kind of easier if you're actually wearing this on your foot. Then you can kind of just go like this. So this should remind you kind of the shoe shine boys and all that kind of old school stuff. But anyway, looking good. So now the next step to really get that shine on, although you can see quite a bit already, is to add the actual shoe polish. And so here you just push there, opens right up, and you can see it's just this cake kind of thing. Now the one thing about it though is that it is dry and you need to add a little bit of water. So that's why I've got just a little bit of water here. All we're going to do is just add like one little drop of water, and you don't need much at all really. A couple drops there, and then we'll get some shoe polish onto this rag, and then we will apply the polish to the shoes. Yeah, definitely you can smell that classic shoe polish odor. But it's going to look great, once we get done. Okay, I'm going to just apply that all around, and especially on the toe area. where it's going to get the most wear and tear and scuffing. All right. So that's one done. I'm going to do the other one while this one dries, and then we're just going to do a little bit of edge dressing. All right, guys, finished applying the shoe polish. So the second to last thing will be to apply some heel and sole edge dressing. And the nice thing about this deal is it's got this, handy dandy, I don't know, flat kind of sponge. So that makes it a little bit easier to do the work. And so this is just basically a black dye that we're going to use to make all of this stuff here continue to look brand new. So you got to kind of push down to get it started. So be a little careful not to go too crazy. Just see when it's starting to come out. There we go. All right. And then we're just going to carefully get that to go all around. And that'll keep everything dark here and looking new. So do be careful not to get it on the shoe itself, the uppers. But you can feel free to come around a little bit over onto this side actually. So it's totally okay to kind of go like this. Yeah, nothing wrong with that at all. In fact, it looks better that way. But do be careful, especially in that toe area, where we don't want to get this black ink all over the leather. All right, looking good. So we're just going to let that dry while we do the other one. All right, and of course the final step is going to be to polish the shoes nicely, get that real shine. And again, I'm using the same cloth that's got, the polish and the shoe cream as well on it, all in the same color for overall this time. And I'm just gonna give that a nice little shine here. Look at that shine building up right away. Okay, there you go, pretty hard to beat that shine. And of course, in between these more formal efforts that really restore the color and the shine, you do want to keep the shoes clean with this brush. And really, I should have gone over the shoes with this brush at the beginning, just to get rid of any kind of surface dirt and all that stuff before putting the cream on. So, in your case, do keep in mind to do that. But yeah, just a little bit of this will complete the process and give it a very wonderful shine. Wow, look at that. Good as new. So there you have it, guys. That's how I keep my shoes looking brand new and lasting for a long time. Hopefully these will last some decades. They've already lasted over 1 decade so far and going very strong. Hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please hit the like button and consider subscribing. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.